Hello, Myo best friends. What if myofunctional therapy was the best part of your client's week? Today, we're going to explore ways to make myofunctional therapy not just effective, but fun, memorable, and something that your patients look forward to, even if they're of different ages. We're even going to dive into some movement, postural stuff, why all of that's important. You got to get up and get the blood flowing. And seniors and working with like a geriatric population. Seniors are very near and dear to my heart. I love the senior population. As I inch every day closer to becoming a senior, I get more and more excited. But I am your Myo best friend, Carice Laguerre. I am here with you nearly every single week. We've built a beautiful community full of a lot of fun education and opportunities to just learn and grow and to make myofunctional therapy as excellent as possible with as many practitioners practicing just above and beyond the norm. So I'm so happy to have you here. I should really just go through the welcome slide, right? Like, why didn't I do that? Anywho, we're going to keep this going every single week. I'm here, but it's never like the same schedule. So if you want to stay on top of things and never miss a live and always get your notifications and get it straight to your inbox, make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, you subscribe. If you are watching on LinkedIn, just connect with me. Everything will come to you. And the more you interact with the content, the more people we have who can be practicing in excellence and practicing profitably. Because if you didn't know, dental professionals lose their investment in myofunctional therapy at 3 times the rate of other professionals and practitioners who enter the field. And I don't want that for us. I want so much better for us. And with that, I'm just going to give you a little bit of exciting news. If you're watching this live or within the next 24 hours, today it is August 21st. Tomorrow starts a scholarship giveaway. Really, really happy to have a great partner in Solved Dental Staffing that will be giving away and sponsoring an entire scholarship, a $3,500 scholarship, okay, to get into myofunctional therapy, completely paid for, including mentorship. That's on-site in-person like mentorship or on-site in-person shadowing, no cost to you. It's a fabulous giveaway. Don't worry, we'll talk more about that in days to come. If you're not a part of the Myo community or following me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, you're probably going to miss out. So if you don't want to miss out, just keep following. Okay. All right. Let's dive in because I know that oftentimes myofunctional therapy isn't as exciting as we might want it to be. And sometimes you get this kind of face. And what's interesting is that as we go through the ages, you're going to get more annoyed faces. But this one, I think, is one, the cutest, and two, probably the most common. It's really, really common to get these children who are just so disengaged. They don't know why they're here, what they're doing it for, and so forth. In fact, some of the first things that I will ever say to anybody that I'm meeting, any new child that I'm meeting, because often I don't meet them on the consultation, I meet them at the evaluation, is, hey, do you know why I'm here? So I am a mobile therapist and I practice mobile myofunctional therapy like 100% full time. But when I step into their home, it's like, well, what are you doing here? Sometimes the parents give them some idea. Most of the time it's me really like clarifying what it is. But if they don't know what they're there for or why, it really is the first step of boredom. So I would always say 100%. Come in, introduce yourself. Why are you here? So I'll start out. Do you know why I'm here? No. Or my mommy says that you're going to look at my face and my tongue muscles. Awesome. Your mom is super amazing and wonderful. And that was spot on. I am going to look at those because what she's told me so far, or what dad's told me so far, or whoever the caregiver is, or whatever, told me so far is that you've got awesome tongue, lip, and cheek muscles. You're super, super strong. And those are some of my favorite things. Like, I love muscles. And since I heard that yours are so strong, I'm here to see how strong they are and to see if there's any room to make you just a little bit stronger. Probably not, but let's see. And so because I've given them that probably not, and because I've already kind of pumped them up a little bit, they're ready to perform, right? Like, ooh, how strong are my muscles? Ooh, mom or dad already said I had strong muscles. This is exciting. All right, let's show her what I got, right? And so sometimes that'll be the first step in change. But if it's not your first time meeting them and you haven't been able to build that rapport, or even if you have built that rapport, but they're kind of losing motivation along the way, it's important to be able to mix it up. Because if it's not fun or engaging, you're going to lose their attention and focus. And once you've lost that, you're like gone. You might as well not even be there. Sometimes the sessions are really just not productive or fruitful. They'll lose their own personal motivation. They might forget why they're doing it. And it's really important to establish that as well. And then you won't reach their goals. And the goals are really important because I don't know why everybody else got into myofunctional therapy, but I know I got into it to make a difference in my household. And once I saw the difference in my household, because I genuinely feel like I met my kids for the first time on the other side of all that dysfunction. So once we had all of that resolved, they were able to really thrive and show up as who they really are in all environments, in the home environment, outside socially with friends, in school and academically. And so I think it's really important that we don't lose sight of the fact that everybody who drops off because they've lost motivation or they take a pause because they just can't keep going or carry on, that's a personal failure to some of why we got into this, why we're doing it. So it's important that you make sure that that is part of your priority, is that they reach their goals. Okay, they need to reach their goals. And frankly, it's really important that sometimes the goals, especially with kids, we kind of just move the goal to something that they actually care about. So when I see that they're losing motivation, I always remind them, number one, I have a prize bag. So I will go to Walmart, formerly Target, ask me about that later, but I would go to Walmart or like a bunch of different retailers that have stores, that have toys, I'm sorry. And at those toy stores or toy aisles or toy sections, I would make sure that I go and find as many engaging and fun and interesting things that meet up with children's common interest. So very often I'm told that I have some of the best prizes, but I'll spend no more than $5. I swear to you, no more than $5 on any of the little trinkets that I have in my goodie bags. Now, in the goodie bag, they get to pick whatever prize they want. I've given away like water guns, like Nerf guns. We've given away squishmallows and like any little thing that I could find that is, I'm your clearance girly, okay? If somebody's gonna find a really great thing for a really low price, it's probably gonna be me. But I'll find like all the very interesting things. So we'll have things that are trending, that are new, that are great. We'll have things that are like slime and things like that are really common. Slime, squishies, sensory stimulation things, Legos, and small Lego sets, and so forth. We'll have a bunch of different things in my goodie bags. And in my goodie bags, they know they're in for something good. So I have to redirect sometimes. And when I'm redirecting, it's like, hey, we are 2 steps away from just getting a prize. It's almost prize time. All we got to do is whatever is left to do. So, finish learning this exercise, learn one more, or finish learning this exercise, show mom and dad all of the homework, and then it's prize time. So, what's the goal? Continue to motivate, redirect, and let them know. If the goal for that session is to maybe earn a token towards a bigger prize, or if it's just to remind them. So some of my older clients, like 10 and above, I really don't do the prize bag. So I will do, okay, let's talk, real talk. Like what is motivating to you? What matters to you? I've had to get, gift cards for places like Sweet Frog or Carvel or whatever, like to get them their own ices or whatever so that they can do and get a prize as they wish. Gift cards for Nintendo, for PlayStation, for a Google Play Store. We've done all sorts of things. Like, what is the motivating factor? If we've established that, I can always circle back to that. So if we hit a big goal, then yay, you're going to get this thing. incredibly important to continue to motivate as you are going along. And so you'll figure out what it is. For some of them, it's just really good praise. And the parents will tell you that right off the bat. Like, they love praise. So the more you're celebrating them, the better they feel, the more, motivated they are to complete. Now, when I say praise, you can give praise even when the task is not done well. So you can give praise for a task that is attempted really well. That was your best try yet. I am so impressed by how well you are getting closer and closer and closer to this goal. So celebrate them, give them that verbal praise. It doesn't have to be that they've accomplished the task to get the praise. They could get the praise prior to. It's just about the efforts, and remind them they can do hard things. And so can you. Okay. You can push past any of that. Incorporate games. I am very creative and I like to come up with different games and play and fun. There's so many resources for teachers online. So you can always go and get things. So I've gotten printables for scavenger hunts where we go look for things in the house. And as they're looking for things in the house, they're doing some sort of static exercise or they're doing a quiet breathing exercise. So they're going and they're looking for things. If they're in your clinic, they can look for things around the clinic too. Find something that's green, find something that's shiny, find something that can break, find something that you love. Typically they'll go and they'll find mom and dad like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the thing I love. This is the thing that's green. This is the whatever. And so they're pointing as they're doing the static exercise, and it just gets them up, it gets them moving, and it gets them going. But there's a lot of other resources. You can always reach out to me at any point in time. I've got these particular resources in addition to some others that I give all the time for clients and for people who just purchase the access to care things that I have available, like my Myo summer sets or the mini Myo course and whatever. We have our own scavenger hunt where we're going to look for things and look for people who might be snoring, or we'll look for people with a pacifier or a thumb in their mouth, or we'll look for dysfunction, right? The roll and race game, we get dice and we roll the dice. We have a dice that we create. And so you can create the dice off of a piece of paper. We cut it out. They get to glue it, put it together, probably while they're doing another static task. And as we're putting it together, then you have your ability to then roll, race, and compete. A lot of kids are competitive. Those competitive kids, keep them going. You gotta keep them motivated. They will lose interest really, really fast if you don't. So whether they're competing against you or competing against a parent or competing against a sibling that might be in the room, roll and race is really, really fun. The Myo Jungle Quest game is an online game that you can play and you can actually like move pieces and do all these things. And it's really, really fun. It's a great way to kind of implement a board game around what you're doing, but making it so that it's not just us sitting down, looking at each other, demonstrating exercises at a table. It makes it so much more fun. If we're doing anything at all that deviates from what really does sound very boring when I put it out like that, like we're just sitting down, looking at each other, doing exercises. That's not exciting in any way, shape, or form. So incorporate games when and where you can, however you can. Lots of great resources online. You don't need to just tap into mine. However, if you would like information about this, feel free to reach out to me or drop something in the comments. Happy to help. Another way that I've found to build in a really engaging way is to make it a story. Stories tend to be very linear, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if you can structure your session or that particular appointment into a story, you can get the flow to maintain. So let's say we're looking for tongue elevation and soft palate strength. I know it says lip strength. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to say soft palate strength and engagement, okay? So if we're going for those two goals, we can weave it together in a fun story. So here's our story. Gary the gorilla and I might have a picture of a gorilla that I'll have with me at that time. Or we could look up a picture of a gorilla, or if they have a stuffed animal that's their favorite, or if you have a puppet of a gorilla. However you're incorporating this as a visual element, make sure you do. Gary the gorilla, he's got to get the coconuts. He has to get the coconuts. He's not tall enough to. He needs to reach really high. But here's the challenge is that every time he goes to reach for the coconuts just go a little higher. And it just makes him so tired. But it might be a little fun if we pull a prank on Gary the gorilla. And we pull this prank on Gary the gorilla by creating a little challenge. We're going to hide the coconuts too, okay? And when we hide the coconuts, he's going to think it's funny. We're all going to laugh, and then we'll get to see how much better Gary gets at being tall next time we see each other, okay? So here's what we're going to do today. We are going to teach Gary how to reach up super high. Then we're going to show him that he needs to reach so high because the coconuts are going to move. And then we're going to surprise him by hiding the coconuts, okay? So here's how we're going to do that. We're talking tongue elevation. Gary's got to reach super high, and so we want to get super tall. How can we make our tongue super tall to reach up to the roof of our mouth? Let's get our tongue to reach up tall. And so you can do that however you're going to teach tongue elevation. If you're teaching it by making it like an N spot, like when they make that sound, or the la sound, like an L sound, then okay. If you're teaching it by just physically stimulating and you're teaching them to get up to the roof of the mouth by actually touching and feeling it, if you're putting something there, that way it is motivational for them to get up and to touch the roof of the mouth. We're going to talk about getting our tongue to be super tall, reaching high. So not, that's really not high at all. We're teaching Gary the gorilla to get really tall. So we want to be as tall as we can with our tongue. So we're opening as wide as we can. We're getting that reach as tall as we can. We're moving higher because we're teaching Gary what to do, right? We've got to get it really tall. So once you've established that and you've tried a few repetitions of that, now let's talk about moving that uvula. Our uvula is going to be the coconut. And so can we see our uvula? Number one, can you see the coconut? Can you see the coconut hanging in the back of your mouth? We're going to get that coconut to lift up high. We're going to lift up by saying, ah, ah, ah. And as we're lifting and that coconut's moving, silly Gary, he's trying so hard to reach. But every time he tries to reach up for it, he doesn't quite get it, right? So we've got our soft palate engaged. We've lifted up our coconut. It's really interesting right now. High stakes for Gary. We're going to pull a prank now, okay? Here's how we're going to pull a prank on Gary. We are going to use, and I typically use the G sound or the K sound, and I say we're going to hide the coconut with our tongue. So the back of our tongue is going to block it. It's almost like if we're playing soccer and we're a goalie, we're going to make sure, nope, Gary, you're not going to get it. Ha, ha, ha. So we're going to get the back of the tongue to lift up and to elevate. So now I've reached all of my goals for my myofunctional therapy session. I've got tongue elevation. I've got the soft palate engaged. I'm lifting the uvula. I've got the back of the tongue working. So we've got posterior engagement. We've got like improving the Mallampati score, the soft palate elevation. We've got our just tongue to spot education and awareness. Awesome. Like all of that into a fun story that the kid's not going to forget. Like, what's their homework? They know very clearly because it was really fun and engaging to get to that. And next time we come, we have a point of reference to start off on. And so Gary the gorilla, was he able to get really tall? Yeah. Did the coconuts get really high? Yeah. Were you able to pull the prank? Yeah. And you were able to block it off, and so he couldn't reach it? That must be so, so funny for Gary. We did a great job doing a great prank, and you got much stronger in the process. Like, how awesome are you? High five, like, yay. And then you can build on into another story. And you could have a story for every one of these sessions as you're kind of going along. And it can be Gary the gorilla the whole time. And you can do 3 different pictures, like Gary, a gorilla that looks happy, a gorilla that looks sad, or a gorilla that looks like frustrated, and then a gorilla that looks like it's reaching up tall, or a gorilla holding a coconut. You can do a bunch of different things. So it would just make it really fun and super engaging. And it's just a great way to build in with children a little bit of fun into your program. However, if you don't want to build in the fun into your program, like while you're sitting down with them, you can always make it a mission at home. So I call it Mission Impossible. So we're going to have our homework be something that they're already doing. I have one client that I just really learned yesterday. I think yesterday it was, I saw him. I go to the house and it's like, oh, he's in the backyard again. He's fishing. They're like, just going and catching fish. It's like his favorite thing to do. That's all he can think about is fishing. And so probably right after you're gone, he's going to go fishing again. Awesome. I love that. Now that I know that, we're going to have fishing missions. And so while he's fishing, we're going to make it just more engaging, because sometimes he sits down with me and he's just so like, I don't care about the prize bag. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. But cares about fishing. And so we're going to incorporate a lot of fishing analogies, references, or when he's looking to do certain things, like while he's fishing. Awesome. When you put the line in, I want you to make sure that you get 10 repetitions of a certain exercise. If you catch a fish before, then you get to just reel the fish in, and like you don't have to do any more repetitions. Okay, so if you catch a fish, then yay, that's when you can stop doing such and such exercise. Or see if you can hold and maintain a static position, like a cave hold or lingual palatal suction. If we can hold that for a certain duration of time while you are fishing. Or you can get your passive quiet breathing in while you're doing some of your fishing, because you have to be quiet anyway while you're doing your fishing. Like, we can get all these things done. Sometimes you see little frogs by the bank. The frogs always make me think of my mother and how she hates frogs. But the frogs, you might see little frogs by the bank. I see lots of frogs sometimes right in my front entrance. Anytime you see a frog, I want you to, next time you go in, you're going to go in and eat, and you're going to eat like a frog. So you'll have your tongue come out and move it all around, and you'll have fun like that. So just make it a mission. Make it something to where it is now a fun task that is incorporated into their daily life and things that they would be doing anyway. Because if you don't, they're going to forget about it, or parents are going to be like, oh, we had a hard time fitting it in. They had this to do, that to do. They really like playing soccer. Awesome. Then we're going to put it into some of the goals and some of what they would be doing anyway during their soccer practices. So while they're running, can you run with a cave with your lips closed? Tell me if you're able to do that at the next time I see you. And if you're not able to do it, I want you to actually practice. So see if you can get better every day with your soccer practice. Get that tongue up in the cave, keep your lips closed, and see how long you can run. They'll come back and tell you like, oh my gosh, Miss Carice, I was able to run for almost the whole practice with my cave. It was so funny. None of my friends could do it. They struggled, and I was the only one. And it's like, oh, okay, awesome. That's so cool. You taught your friends something nice. Like, it's really, really great. So anything that they have as a habit, I always find that out during the intake. I ask a bunch of boring questions like, oh, tell me about labor and delivery, congestion, digestion, all sorts of things. What do you like to do for fun? Just throw it in there. It's a great way to kind of get that done. And so once you learn what they like and what they do, find a way to bring it around. That way they can incorporate it into their daily lives. This will come back as we move on towards adults. Okay. But adults are an interesting set of people. I really love working with kids, but I love working with adults much more because you get so much growth as a practitioner working with adults. Adults give you the best types of feedback. Sometimes when children are frustrated or they lack motivation, they don't know, they're not aware, or they cannot adequately articulate it because they don't have the emotional intelligence to articulate it. And so you play a lot more of the guessing game. But adults, oh, they know when they're frustrated, they know when they're bored, they know when they're disengaged, and when they don't want to continue any longer. And so, if that's the case, we want to make sure that we are catering to them in the way that, they're best going to be able to adapt and shift and change. Because if it's not fun or engaging for them, they're going to drop out. They're not going to continue on with the program. They're probably going to regret even starting it, and they won't prioritize it. Like, it will not fall into what they want to do over other tasks that they already have on their minds or in their calendars to do. And we know how important it is to reach the goal. That's what I started on with the children. It's really, really important for them to reach the goal. And so if they're missing the mark or not getting the goal or dropping off, that is a failure for more than just them and their future health and habits and so forth. It's a failure on us as practitioners because that's one less person we didn't get to positively impact. That's in our community. That is, a part of our local society. Or if you're seeing people virtually, that's a part of some other community, but they're really valuable. Every person is immensely valuable. And so we want all of them to be at their best. And so it'd be really sad if they weren't. And I like to compare how we need to motivate to weight loss. Okay. Everybody in weight loss, sometimes you start and, I'm yo-yo, like up, down, up, down. I don't know, my whole life, it's been like a weight struggle. But what I will say is that for a lot of us who do struggle with weight, you notice that when you lose weight, you're super motivated. Like, I could stay on a kick of exercising and go and go and go and go and go. And then you hit a plateau and you're like, oh my gosh, that whole week of exercising wasn't even worth it. Like, why am I still the same size? There's so many reasons for it. And there's so many reasons why, but you'll start to lose a little bit of that motivation, or you might want to like reward yourself with something that like, oh, I've earned it. I've definitely earned this piece of cake that I went out and bought separately because I felt bad for whatever. But we need to stay motivated, and we can't stay as motivated. So it's much easier to find a magic pill or a magic drug, semaglutides, or to, do liposuction or plastic surgery or some other type of quick, fast, easy fix, because it's less for us to have to work on. With that said, adults, we don't have the motivation that we've had in the past, and we fall off. In order to not fall off, make sure that you're making it as engaging as possible, and gamification is a great way to do so. So I don't have a prize bag for adults, and I don't motivate adults by offering them prizes. I don't. However, it is something that you can do. Sometimes the prize really is just reviewing why we're even here. Like, what is the end all goal? You told me that you haven't been able to go out on a date in 3 years because every time you're out and you're eating with somebody, you're self-conscious, you're, you know, unable to really like participate because the messiness of your eating, or how you eat with your mouth open, and like people have told you it's an ick and they don't want it. And so you're traumatized around dating. If you're traumatized around dating, I'm not going to bring up your trauma every single time, but I will be like, what's our end goal? Our end goal might not be for you proper oral resting posture. It might not be for you establishing like a peristaltic oral phase swallow. It might not be that for you. But what's our end goal? Going on a date. Awesome. Let's get you to that date. It is my job to get you there. So I'm going to engage you. I'm going to remind you what the goal is. We're probably going to set a date, like an actual date for the date. So we're going to buy such and such time. So we're working towards that goal. We're working towards this being the final date of when it is we have to achieve such and such. And we're going to motivate along the way by encouraging, hey, we've got this set reservation at such and such restaurant. Like you've got to meet this goal. If we're going to meet this goal, this is what we've got to get going. And this is the commitment level that I need. And I promise you we're going to get there. You just have to keep it going. Gamification can be really, really fun. If you have a way to like track and modify and whatever. Habit stacking I want to talk about in a second. But apps, using technology to your advantage. So if they do really well, or if you give them a certain set of goals and they need to be able to track their exercises or track the repetitions or track a certain thing that they're doing, you want to use technology to do so. There are lots of apps, so many apps that you could use for habit tracking. I just picked two. ClickUp, because I think ClickUp is actually really interesting. If you've ever been on their TikTok, I would assume their Instagram's the same. I'm hardly ever on Insta. But if you're on their TikTok, ClickUp has some of the funniest, most interesting, like, things going on. So ClickUp has a really good habit tracker as well, but they also have good social media. So go check that out later, not right now, okay? Stay focused. But Strides is a really great app. I often recommend Strides to clients or people that I'm working with if we're keeping track of things and we're trying to meet a certain goal, because the more you check these things off, it's really encouraging. And so it's got a lot of great settings, and you can use reminders, and it's really fun. So Strides, really great app, but there's so many, so many. So like look through, see whatever it is that you use, but remember, you can use it in gamification to keep track of goals and to keep your clients in line with what their goals are. Habit stacking. So habit stacking is really good too, because what we're essentially doing is we're taking their daily life and we're adding to it. So we're adding to it fruitfully, in the same way that you would take my client that has the fishing in excitement or fishing, habit, something hobby. There we go. Has the fishing hobby and really, really likes to go fishing. You have adult clients who may really like gaming, or who may really like golfing, or who may really like yoga and fitness or working out or whatever. They like what they like. How can you incorporate one of your Myo goals into one of their goals, and or what they are already engaged in? So if you're golfing, can we incorporate the golfing in the same way that we incorporated the fishing? Can we incorporate that, but for an adult and with adult standards and with adult repetitions? Like if you're golfing and you tell me, like, you're a salesman, or I do real estate. I've had several people who do real estate. If you telling me you do real estate and you're always on the golf course because you've got to be out there, your clients are the people who have memberships at Mar-a-Lago, and you really, really, really need to engage them always. So you're on the golf course and you're not sure if you have time for the Myo. Awesome. We can build it in. If this is something that you can do while you're on the golf course and do it discreetly, or we can shift your goals or some of your exercises, honestly, so that they fit more into a golf lifestyle. So as you're golfing and as you're reaching certain metrics there and you're trying to hit certain goals there, you want to be under a certain number of strokes. Awesome. We're going to get you there, and we're going to get you XYZ amount of function or eliminate dysfunction by such and such time. And here's how we're going to get there. We're going to take these specific steps, put it into your Strides app, put it into your ClickUp, put it into whatever we're tracking. Okay. So you're just going to take what they're already doing and build upon it, because it's just more fun. It's more engaging that way. You can play games with adults, particularly the ones who really do like games. I'll bring them into a Myo Jungle Quest session with me, and we'll play Myo Jungle Quests. Like, if that's what you like to do, let's do it. We'll just make the exercises a bit more adult friendly. Okay. Movement. Movement is incredible. incredibly important. I don't even think anybody understands the way how the tongue is so built in to the body and so much of our awareness, like so much of our ability to be self-aware of our bodies is built into the tongue. And it was shown in like a particular paper that the when there was some sort of electrical stimulation into the tongue, so let's say they had the inspire, or they had something that was electrically stimulating the tongue. When there is engagement in the tongue, right, and we engage those tongue muscles, it helped to improve the balance, good, the body balance, gait, and posture. Really, really interesting. I think that movement is just necessary. Sitting is the new smoking, and we just need to get up and we need to move, and we know that we have to get our bodies moving and engaged. But more importantly, it's going to help improve the oxygen levels and your oxygen intake into the body. That concentration is going to be positively impacted and going to increase, and so is the cognitive function. So they'll be more engaged in your program anyway. That is children, that is adults, that's seniors when we get into that in just a second. But all of them throughout that are going to be very, very positively stimulated and improved when you get the body moving. So don't be afraid to get up and to get action, because you'll be connecting the whole body at times. Okay. The body is supposed to connect between the arches. Now, the three major arches are the arch of the feet, the arch of the diaphragm, and the palatal arch. We can connect through the deep line fascia, the tongue to the toes. If you can connect the tongue to the palate, the top arch, it will create a wonderful stability and connection through the body that will engage that diaphragm and maintain your better balance and posture and so forth. It is all connected. So you've got to get them moving. If they are not as engaged as they should be, it's probably because you're sitting down at a table, looking across from each other, doing exercises. It sounds really boring. It is. And it is, and it can be. That's not to say that it doesn't work for some. There are some people who just, that's the way it is and that's the way it has to be. But for those it can work for, it's absolutely a blessing to be able to get up, to move around, and to engage the full body, get some natural electrical stimulation by connecting the tongue to the palate, engage with your vagus nerve, and just be better. Cat cow is a really good one that I would use. This helps with some of the postural stuff. You're going to get your breathing in there, and then you get two of your arches. Okay, so you're not going to get all three of the arches connected, but you'll get two of them. And so what you want to do is you want to have them on fours, so their hands and knees. If you don't have a mat for your clinic, or they don't have like a soft surface, then don't get them on all fours. If you're mobile, is what I was going to say. If they don't have a soft surface in their home, then don't get them on all fours, or travel with a mat, a yoga mat that you can wipe down and clean in between. On all fours, hands and knees straight back to start. They're going to inhale, and as they're inhaling, they're filling up the lungs and the diaphragm, and the belly will extend, and they will have a bit more of an arch. To inhale, exhale. As you exhale, you're going to empty out the lungs and completely engage that core, and that's going to create an arch like a cat. And as you inhale again, the head is coming up, and now as the head is coming up, the belly's going down, the back is dipping in, and you're going to be more like a cow. And we're going to repeat for several breaths. It's a great way to also reset. Sometimes I put in a little bit of music. If you put in a little bit of music, it really just gets everything kind of going and working and flowing better. They're able to just kind of continue on. But I would count and I would do maybe a 4-6, like a 4 inhale, a 6 exhale, or however you would like to do it. But this is going to be really helpful. It does help to increase the mobility of the neck, shoulders, and spine, and helps to kind of align the cervical spine too, in addition to just being a way to move, establish conscious breathing, and to engage two of the body's important arches all together. So you want to get the tongue on the palate as you're doing this, nasal breathing, so you can establish proper oral resting posture, and then you're engaging the diaphragm quite actively during this. Okay, it's really great. Cobra. Our cobra also will engage the diaphragm. It also, you can get the tongue to the palate, and that's going to help engage those two arches. I'm only giving you guys 3 of these exercises. I do a lot more, but 3 I think are really good. You'll notice that there's overlap here with yoga. There's a lot of breath work, especially for qigong or tai chi or yoga, where there's a lot of overlap with breath and movement. Really important getting the movement in there. Anyway, as we exhale, we're going to exhale and be coming down to the ground. Well, we start with the inhale. Anyway, you're going to inhale. As you inhale, you're going to come up on your forearms, come up on your hands, on your palms, I'm sorry. So forearms are going to fully extend. Your elbow will be slightly bent as your head is going up, and the upper back is kind of arching backwards. So you get a little arch in your spine, and you'll be up kind of like a cobra. Then you're going to exhale, and you come down fully in that full exhale, and you're going to repeat. So it's like an up and a down, almost like a lazy push-up, but it's not about the push-up at all. It's not about forearm strength. It's all about your breathing, engaging in active breath work. This is a great stretch for the spine. You have some people who have like a lot of tension in the upper back and so forth. And so getting them in a good cobra or a cat-cow really does help. If you have slouchers, we all have slouchers. Just make sure that you're getting them engaged with this too. Crocodile breathing is something that I do. I'll talk about that if somebody asks me in the comments. But crocodile breathing is another thing that I do, and I'm not going to talk about it right yet. Farmer carry. The farmer carry is a really great exercise. Farmer carry is really good for whole body when you're in the gym. Like if you're in the gym, it's a really great way. Grab some weights. However, I don't typically have weights available to me. I don't have weights in my personal practice, and I don't have weights typically in most of the homes that I go to. I don't think I've ever asked anybody to have weights. But what I will ask them to do is to get like a full bottle of water. And so you're going to get 2 bottles of water, or you'll have something that is relatively somewhat challenging for you. So sometimes we get like a big bag of rice. There are some families that have like the big bags of rice. We're going to get like a 5 or 10 pound bag of rice, and we'll carry that. And they can carry it with 2 hands, or if they have 2 smaller things, then we're going to carry the 2 gallons of water jugs or something like that. We'll carry 1 in each, like a farmer carry. Now this is going to really help to strengthen the posture, and it's really good if you're doing conscious breathing and we get our shoes off so that we're engaging all 3 of our arches. That way we have the diaphragm engaged with nasal breathing, our tongue in the palatal space and the palatal arch engaged there in the light suction, and our toes on the ground, feet on the ground, those arches engaged as well. Athletic clients are really going to love this. It's a really great way for them to combine the best of both worlds. And so they're getting a lot of what they would already be doing in just passive working out with now active exercise and so forth. So really good, fun times. This one I think is so interesting as a picture. I was like, I've never seen somebody look so irritated with me. It feels like this image that she is staring into my soul right now. Yeah, that's my soul. She's staring fully in it. All right, so this is the senior section. I think with seniors, I've worked one-on-one with seniors. I love it. I think that they're a great population to work with. What I've done more of is work in groups with seniors. And I love working in groups with seniors. I've wanted to be 55 since I was like 25. I genuinely cannot wait to move into an active adult community and just be with my people. But seniors have my heart. Seniors need to remain engaged. If they're not engaged, it's not worth it for them. Oftentimes they are, on a fixed budget and they have other health problems. Sometimes memory and memory care is a part of it, but they're already doing things in groups. Socializing is a big part of being a senior. Once you retire, and if you're in a senior community or you're, whatever, you need to keep your brain going and keep your mind engaged. So you're typically doing things with others or doing things for others. So you're servicing others, but they'll find themselves doing group activities and social tasks. So I like to meet seniors where they're at. I do a full program for seniors. Um, it's typically based around sleep because that's the biggest thing that they're struggling with. Oftentimes, the sleep is the main caveat for why there's some other issues going on. However, what I find is that when we make it fun, it makes it work. Because if they're in a group, they're doing things that are fun for them anyway. So yeah, they might be playing cards or playing bingo or playing board games or doing things that we don't think are as interesting as younger people, but they're having a very, very good time. They're equally as competitive, equally as lively, and very, very fun to engage with. Group programs do work at this age and stage because oftentimes you can find the community center is looking for activities and they will be the people who will pay you, and the community center might be free for the seniors, but they have their own budget that they can spend. Or some of these homes, the senior living or assisted living communities, they have their own budgets that they can spend for activities, and they bring people in to do yoga or to do breath work or to do whatever. Like, you can come in as a myofunctional therapist and do sleep education, do a sleep workshop, and so forth. So this is me at a senior workshop that I did back when I was still taking pictures. Nowadays, I hardly if ever take pictures, but a senior workshop that I did. And if you look closely, you'll see that in the image on the television screen, it's someone who's blowing a balloon. And so that's the section I do a presentation about why I'm here, what is myofunctional therapy, like who is this crazy lady who is here talking to you about this weirdo stuff. And then I'm like, all right, let's exercise, let's make it fun. Like, these are the simple things that you can do. I hand out little packets, so I pre-make packets for them that has like a balloon in it, it has aromatherapy, it has a nasal dilator in it, and we're just going to do some fun exercises and activities. And it really works. It engages them, and they're like, all I need are these things, and I'll be able to sleep better, and I'll feel better, and whatever. Yes, absolutely. So nasal dilator, because we have to build in a little bit of, routine and simplicity. We want to make sure that I have a straw in there, a straw in their bag. The straw is going to build in a little bit of exercise. The balloon is going to build in some breath work and some exercise. Like, we're building in the ways for them to maintain this and make it easy for them. These are small packages that I give out. These are not large packages at all. Okay. So we're bringing back the fun into everything. With the balloon, are engaging in diaphragmatic breathing, really working on some of that exhale. But essentially, balloons, anytime balloons are going in, hopefully you all know, it's between the lips. We're not biting on it with our teeth. It's a lot of lip strength. It's a lot of really conscious manipulation of the breath itself. So as you take that nasal inhale, it's a small parting of the lips. The breath is going to go out low, strong, and straight. And you're emptying your diaphragm, emptying your lung fully, like engaging the diaphragm fully and entering it all into the balloon. And we're going to repeat nose, inhale, exhale through the mouth. They have a lot of fun seeing who can blow up a balloon, who's never been able to blow up a balloon, and for the first time in 83 years can blow up a balloon now. And like, we have a lot of fun. It's really, really engaging, but it brings back a lot of stimulation for fun. When I'm having struggles with a cave or with them achieving lingual palatal suction, because I'm like, how do I say it without saying cave? Lingual palatal suction. Then what I want to do is I want to tie a knot in a flexible straw or whatever type of straw, but it's going to be like a smoothie size straw. We're going to tie a knot in it, and then we're going to try to collapse all the air out of the straw from the open end of it. So on one end will be a knot, on the other end it's open, and it's going to go on top of the tongue, lips close over, and you're going to use primarily your tongue to drink all the air out of the straw. So as you're trying to drink all the air out of the straw, you're going to engage the tongue in palatal suction. And everybody has a good time always trying to like figure out who can do it, who can't. Like, it's really, I love senior centers and senior workshops. They're the most fun that I have. You're to build in little easy habits for them. So if you are a big fan of the myo nozzles from Replenish, then make sure you have myo nozzles. Make sure those nozzles are actually going to engage and work out their tongue while they're just engaging in just passive exercise or just drinking. Nasal dilators are my faves. I love a good nasal dilator. It's going to rain here. Like, I had a really good natural lighting, and then that's why it's so dark right now. It's definitely about to rain, but we're almost done. We're going to bring in some of the ease by having just simple tools. Tools make group programs work well. You don't have to come back multiple times. You can if you would like to reinforce, but having like a group workshop, even once, twice, or 3 times a year in your local community center, perfect. You'll help so many seniors just by building in some routine of ease. And whether it's nasal strips, whether it's nasal dilator, whether it's engaging in active aromatherapy or cleaning out the nose. So you're establishing for them a nasal hygiene routine. Build in some of that. And the routine, the biggest tip I can give anybody about sleep, always, and on over 100 podcasts, it's the same tips that I'm always giving, but it is to make sure that you are consistent around sleep. So the more consistent you are, the more you're building out that routine and that rhythm, that circadian rhythm that you need. Okay. So build out the routine. And with seniors, you can't go wrong. I mean, they're really, really going to listen and be engaged as long as you can give them back that same level of commitment. So have a structured plan for them and you'll see lots of success. Okay. I want to round out by saying that this is a really great quote, that you should never, ever underestimate the importance of having fun. Having fun can be the baseline and be like the thing that makes a difference between someone being successful in your programs and someone not being successful in your programs. So make sure you are building in the fun into your programs and ensuring that no matter what age, no matter what stage, they are fully able to benefit and reach the goals that you intend for them to reach. I'm going to check the comments and see if there's anything there as far as any questions. I don't see anything as of right now. I take that every week to mean that I was the most clear and that there's no confusion about anything. But if you have any questions, as always, just throw it in the chat. I'll be back and I will, answer what I can in the comments. All right, my Myo best friends, until next time, bye.